Hi, everybody. Thanks for attending today's webinar, Improve Supply Chain Visibility to Reduce Inventory Out of Stocks. This is brought to you by Traverse Systems. This is part two of a two-part webinar series focused on supply chain visibility.
Today, we're going to share with you our solution, Vision, which is a supply chain visibility solution, which helps companies mitigate many of these supply chain challenges they are facing today.
Greg, as you look at the market, there's a lot of visibility solutions out there. What makes Vision different? And if you could, tell the folks out there why you created it.
The three things that stand out that actually makes us different as a company is our approach to the business, the people that we service, and our fantastic product support. Diving a little bit more into each one of those, the different visibility solutions that we saw in the market seem to typically focus on the movement of product from point A to point B. And our different approach to that, we recognize that the entire visibility begins with the creation of a purchase order. And there are different milestones that happen within that purchase order life cycle that gives the stakeholders insight into what's happening. And when we talk about it, when you hear me talk about what we do with Vision, you'll hear me talk a whole lot about the casual user. So these are the people that need information, visibility information about that purchase order life cycle that might not necessarily be the experts. These are the people that don't have access to a TMS. These are the people that don't have access to a WMS. These are the people that don't get EDI information, but they are benefactors of having all that information into one complete package where they can sign on and get information about the items that they care about or the purchase orders that they care about.
Greg, obviously you talked about why we created it. Now, Kip, we want to talk a little bit about the types of organizations that would use Vision and the personas within those organizations.
One of the first personas here is, we're encapsulating Martha Merchant, right? So that's anybody that's buyer, product manager, procurement, demand planner, any of those different names kind of fall into this Martha Merchant bucket. And, ultimately, they're a high-performing merchant and they're trying to hit those margin goals, right? So driving sales, driving margin, moving that inventory through inventory turn. So those are some of those big challenges and some of the goals and frustrations that Martha Merchant has. You can kind of read on the screen here. Somebody like a Martha, having the ability to immediately locate POs at risk. Open to buy is a huge thing for the merchants, right? On a monthly basis, especially on a quarterly and going into a yearly basis if they're reporting to Wall Street. Really important to make sure that things are coming in the appropriate time frame to manage that open to buy process. High performing orders. Everybody's got your top 10 or best selling products. I know in my past life, every week we were going through a bestseller, worst seller, and trying to figure out what we were doing for bestsellers to get more of it in front of our customers, and things that were underperforming. How do we try and exit? Have an exit strategy to get out of some of that. So this tool will really help further upstream as you're identifying those bestseller and worst sellers, and being able to make some of those really informed decisions. So what we're seeing, kind of out in the industry is that by having that good visibility tool, having, ways to identify those areas of opportunity and really make sure that that right product is getting at the right place at the right time, we're seeing that ultimate net charge or net margin improvement, right? So that's, I think, one of the big pieces there is, driving those top line sales, but then making sure that they're very productive sales. Back in my world, sales, margin, inventory turn were the big three that, in my buying office, we were really trying to adhere to. Then you got your supply chain, right? So after I had moved out of the buying office, I spent a decade in supply chain, working anywhere from, with a vendor compliance program, working with, the outward vendors themselves and trying to just improve those behaviors, right? Because ultimately we're just trying to remove any of those supply chain disruptions and get the right product in at the right time. So I'm also very familiar with this role. And I love the way that Sarah has it quoted here, that give me a solution that alerts business partners of issues, right? So they answer to a lot of those stakeholders. They're really trying to, identify any of those unplanned disruptions and how do they mitigate that and provide solutions to, save the sale and get product back in. So some of the things that the Vision will provide for somebody on that supply chain relations team or supply chain services team, easy access to all those movements, carrier information, delivery statuses. You can see literally where it is, as Greg mentioned, a couple times throughout the day, refresh and just see how your product is moving through. You can search for an individual purchase order if you know it. Maybe it's the best-selling item you have. Or you can do, these ad hoc groups of POs or special events where you can chunk them all together and kind of see how that whole program is behaving for you. Another one is weather, right? Right now there's weather on the West Coast. It seems like California has been getting beat up for a week or two already. There could be, we're late in the year here, so snowstorms in the Northeast. It's nice to be able to just plunk in some information about certain regions and quickly identify POs that are either already in motion or soon to be in motion, and potentially make, corrective action or change where those things are going. So for that supply chain team, really looking at getting that right product in the right place at the right time, on-time performance. We're seeing out there in the industry that having this visibility solution, having those alerts and being able to react more timely to it, that we're actually increasing that on-time performance as much as 25%. So I think that's kind of a staggering figure there. Last persona for today, and kind of some of the things that are built in here. This could be DC or for stores, but where it's a little bit different for the store manager here, they might be really looking at particular product. They may have a customer that has come in and looked for something, and they want to see when this product might be back in, so that we can guarantee to get that customer back into the store. Right, the last thing you want to do is start walking customers because you don't have product, and being able to then more efficiently plan for those work resources. And how do I tackle that inbound trailer or the trailer that's coming into my back dock and make sure that known product is getting back out on the sales floor before anything else. So some of the things that he's interested, item level tracking. So he may not be as concerned about a group of POs for an event. He wants to look at maybe particular items. So back to that best seller, worst seller, Stephen, he's going to know exactly what those best-selling items are in his store, and being able to see purchase orders that are in movement to him, I think are just invaluable to getting that product back out on the floor. Global visibility. So overall, just answering back to those stakeholders, right? Because buying offices are going to want to make sure that this product is being displayed correctly and supporting those different ad events, and just making sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. And then tracking inbound shipments to better plan resources, like I mentioned. Stores are seeing anywhere from a 3 to 7% sales increase. This really isn't even figuring into the back end, like markdown, liability. So anytime that we can get product in to meet the plan that your Martha Merchant has set forth, the better we're driving those ultimate sales up front, but then also not cluttering up those racks. I think, Richard, you talked about that inventory distortion. So how do I make sure that I'm driving it and getting those customers in at the appropriate time, and then being able to clear out of that product and make room for that next great thing?
We'd like to show you how our application is different. We'd like to share with you some of the experience that we've had as an organization. So give us a call, give us an email, and we'd love to set something up for you.